1,000 people accompanied the Empire was Charles's son, Wenceslaus IV, whose father... But Wenceslaus did not take after his father. He neglected... He even failed to turn up for his own coronation as emperor, which did little to endear him to the Pope. His difficulties mounted until the nobles, exasperated by the inaction of their ruler, turned for help to his half-brother, King Sigismund of Hungary. Sigismund decided on a radical solution. He kidnapped the king to force him to abdicate, then took advantage of the ensuing disorder to gain greater power for himself. He invaded Bohemia with a massive army and began pillaging the territories of the king's allies. It is here that my story begins.
Let's have a look at you. Are you injured?
Henry! What the fuck happened?
You turned up uninvited at some Cuman social gathering.
And you took them all?
So it seems.
God's holy britches! I never knew you had it in you, Henry. Remind me never to get on the wrong side of you.
That wound on your head doesn't look good.
Not to worry. I'm sure it doesn't look half as bad as it fucking feels. You'll have to help me get back to Rattay.
Come along then, sir.
It's Lord Capon. Get here, everybody. You, help him.
How is it possible, Radzig? Those bastards make so bold no more than a mile from the castle. We'll have to send out more patrols.
That won't do us any good, Hanush. Even if we had 10 times the men, we couldn't beat through every thicket in the fiefdom.
You sent for me, sir?
Come in.
I don't know how to thank you, Henry. If it wasn't for you, Hans would be dead. And to think I sent you out with him as a punishment.
I was only doing my duty, sir.
Don't be so modest, young Henry. You showed not only courage, but loyalty to your liege. That's why I'm taking you into my personal service.
Sir, thank you, sir.
Don't just stand there, lad. Pour us a drink.
I'm sorry to interrupt, sir, but I've urgent tidings.
What now?
A stable boy came from Neuhof. He says brigands raided the stud farm this morning. There's many dead or maimed.
Kurva!
Tell us exactly what happened.
I'm not sure. The boy was so shook up he could barely speak. He said the bandits murdered for the joy of it. I'm sorry, sir. Your vassal Smill is dead.
Who did this? Who were they?
We don't know, sir. The stable boy just kept babbling about some huge fellow in black armor who led the attack.
Take as many men as you need, and don't stop until you've found those bastards. And bring me their heads!
Yes, sir.
My men at your disposal too, Hanush.
Thank you, friend.
Sir, let me ride with them.
He's full of piss and vinegar, isn't he?
Their leader, he must be the one who attacked me at Skalitz. There can't be 2 men in the whole kingdom who look like that.
You think he might still have my sword? No doubt you could use another swordsman, Captain.
As you command, my lord.
How soon can you leave, Bernard?
Soon as the men are ready, sir.
Good. Wait in the courtyard for Henry. And, give him a horse.
His own mount?
His reward for saving Sir Hans. He'll need it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Well, go! I want these culprits in the hands of the executioner as soon as possible.
I won't let you down, sir.
Get your horses mounted up and let's ride out. On the double. Maybe we'll catch up with that rabble.
Yeah.
Fresh bread. Garlic, carrots, beetroot. I cannot live on
Jesus Christ be praised. May the Lord watch over you.
I'd like to discuss the price.
Well, we can try it.
Satisfied?
You're a right pinch purse. Finally, a reasonable sum.
Cabbage! Cabbage! Green cabbage! Get it before it goes down.
I'm from the Skalitz, good folk. You all know what happened there? Help your neighbor.
Garlic, carrots, beetroot, onions, all the groceries.
What do you want from me now? Take care.
Have a look at
My respects to you.
they'll stay firm all winter.
May the Lord watch over you.
Someone else does.
I'd like to discuss the price.
Well, we can try it.
What about this?
Garlic,
Well, that's a
onions,
poor offer.
mushrooms and asparagus. Come right up. No need to be shy.
Cannot live by bread alone. We can't live without it either.
Finally, a reasonable sum.
God be with you.
Would you teach me more?
Certainly.
Well.
I'd like to discuss the price.
Well, we can try it.
Satisfied?
It's not worth it to me. Aye, that would do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You! Where have you been? All that bold talk and then you disappear? That's not the kind of man I need.
But I've...
We waited for you while people here suffered, damn it. We could have caught the ones who did it, and because of you, they've run off.
Because I...
Silence! I don't want to hear it.
I haven't made the best start of it, but maybe I can still be of some help. Such senseless brutality. They slaughtered horses as well as people, and yet it seems they didn't take anything.
How could anyone be so cruel? How could anyone be so cruel?
See what they did here? Kill them! Find those whoresons and kill them! Why did they have to kill you?
What? Who's there?
Easy. I just came to ask...
I don't know anything.
Are you hurt?
No, nothing. Not a scratch.
What really happened here?
I don't know. Someone attacked. I don't know who.
You didn't happen to hear where they came from?
No, I didn't see a thing.
Why did they have to kill you?
Such senseless brutality. They slaughtered horses as well as people, and yet it seems they didn't take anything. How could anyone be so cruel? How could anyone be so cruel?
God, no!
Such senseless brutality. They slaughtered horses as well as people, and yet it seems they didn't take anything. Poor wretch. He must have crawled here. If it was the horses they were after, there'll be even more of them by the main stables. How could anyone be so cruel? They really did slaughter them. Why would anyone do that? How could anyone be so cruel? Smell, the stud farm owner. I saw him in Skalitz a few times. His poor widow.
Ask.
I can come back later if you...
No. I saw you came with the soldiers, and the sooner you know everything, the sooner you'll catch those savages.
I'm sorry to trouble you, ma'am, but could you tell me about the raid?
The noise woke us up. Me and Smill. We thought the horses were restless, or maybe some drunk had staggered here from the inn.
Go on.
My husband went out to see what was going on. Then I just heard loud voices and screaming. It's so stupid. It didn't even occur to me at first that something could have happened to Smill. I didn't find out until the morning.
Did you recognize any of the voices you heard?
No, but they spoke Czech, cursing like... Something must have happened.
And where did you hear this noise?
Everywhere. It was chaos. I don't even know how many of them there were.
I mean at the very start. Do you remember where you heard the noise come from then?
I don't know. I just don't know.
Did you get a look at them? There's one man, huge and dressed all in black. Did you see him?
No, I didn't.
Who should I question about the raid? Did anyone here see anything?
Jakob, the old stable boy. He even fought with them.
From what I've heard, Mark was the first one to wake. It might be a good idea to talk to him.
Ginger was sleeping in the stable. He might have seen something.
I don't know of anyone else.
God bless.
Another useless soldier coming to ask questions. You should have fucking been here last night.
What's wrong with your arm? That's nasty. It needs to be cleaned out and bandaged. Let me.
That feels a mite better. Thank you. What do you need to know?
What in the world happened here?
The bastards attacked us. At night, a little before dawn.
And how did you come by that wound?
I heard someone talking, so I went to look outside. Then I saw what they'd done to the horses. I shouted at those bastards. Caught one by the cloak and started beating him.
Without a weapon? With just your fists?
Yeah. But he cut me pretty good, the fucker. Lucky for me, the others started to come out then, so the raiders ran. All that's left is his cloak.
And you've got no idea why they did it?
Something must have gone wrong for them. They ran off without taking anything.
There's one man in particular. Huge. Dressed all in black. Voice loud enough to crack stone. Did you see him?
Who the fuck do you think half killed me?
So he really was here. The bastard. Can you help me?
How?
You know the area. How can I figure out which way they went?
They left in a hurry. You could see if there's a fence knocked down, or a gate. Take care now.
Are you well?
Leave me alone. Go away.
Look, I know that it's difficult, but I only need you to answer a few questions. I'm here because Sir Radzig sent me.
Sir Radzig?
Yes.
What do you need to know?
What actually happened here?
They killed the animals and... Why did they kill them?
Did they take anything?
No.
Think carefully now. How did it all start?
We heard the animals, their shrieks, then Smil. He shouted, and they murdered him.
You're certain it was the animals first, and then Smil? Not the other way round?
I'm certain. I'd never heard a sound like that before. Now I'll never forget it.
What happened after that?
We ran outside and it was chaos. Animals were dying, the stables were burning, and those demons everywhere.
The stables were already burning. Didn't that happen after they fled?
No, it was to set the blaze when they arrived.
You said they were demons?
No, just vermin. Worthless human vermin.
How many of them were there?
Not many. There were just a few that came after us, but more round the back. I heard them yelling at each other.
So they were yelling because of all the noise?
No, something happened. They quarrelled.
In the back? Where?
Towards the woods. To the north. They were trying to get away.
So some of them were running away and the others were fighting?
Aye. For a time. Then more of us came out and we fought back, so the others fled as well.
Where? Where did they run to?
To the north. Into the woods.
Thanks. That's all I needed to ask.
See you later. Goodbye. Aha! This wasn't done by animals. They must have gone into the woods this way. They went deeper and deeper, for sure.
No, my friend. I'm not long for this world. Go, before someone finds us here. Don't worry about me.
You know I can't leave you here. If they find you...
I know. I wanted to do it myself. I don't even have the strength for that.
What kind of... Well, I never. The pig turns up willingly for the slaughter. Quitting! Yeah! 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 Bugger this! Bunda! Shit! Oh. Rise!
I'm fucking dying here. Nobody can match me with iron in their hands, and... some damn peasant kills me. Dagger covered in horse shit.
Why, it's a hoof pick. Someone in Neuhof must know more about it.
know whose hoofpick this is?
Ginger's. He was always bragging about it. Why do you ask?
I found it on one of the bandits in the woods.
But he... Because of him? Because of him they murdered us? Lord in heaven!
Wait, hold on. You think Ginger was responsible for the attack?
He ran off! Don't you see? He was acting so strange and then he ran off! Why the hell would he do that?
That does sound rather odd. And you don't know where Ginger could have gone?
Dunno. Ask Jakob. Take care.
Do you know anything about this hoofpick?
Yeah, it's Ginger's. He had it made in mate.
Any idea where I might find this Ginger?
Well, that's the thing. He packed up and left.
What?
Look, I know how he looks. But Ginger is a fine fellow. I don't believe he had anything to do with the attack.
Where could he have fled to?
I might know. But you gotta promise me one thing. When you find him, listen to what he has to say before judging.
You have my word.
Sometimes the charcoal burners come to see him. He gets on well with them. I think that's where he's gone.
And where is that?
No idea. They've always kept to themselves, you know. Charcoal burners.
But the forest is full of folk like that. They could be anywhere.
Aye, except these ones won't be far. If you follow the stream from the stud farm towards Radzig, you'll come across one of their camps. Only
what?
Ginger didn't go that way, though. He always went by the big road, through the woods in the direction of Ujits.
But how can I find them?
There's always smoke when they work. You'll smell them before you see them. And they need to be near water. There's that too.
So if I go through the woods along running water, I'll find them?
Exactly. God be with you.
Greetings.
I think Ginger is mixed up in it somehow.
Why do you say that?
The hoofpick I found on the dead bandit in the woods is his.
That is fucking suspicious.
He acted suspiciously when I questioned him.
What do you mean?
Well, he was squirming and didn't really say anything.
He might just have been in shock.
He disappeared right after we found those bandits in the woods. And I think I know where he went.
Where?
To the charcoal burners. He has friends there.
We've got to find him. But if his friends really are hiding him, I doubt they'll talk to my men. You should search for him, Henry. Go, before the trail turns cold. I'll send a report to Radzig.
Very well, sir. Can you teach me how to defend?
Certainly.
I want to achieve...
All right, but it'll cost you.
Isn't that quite... Since it's you...
It'll take more than that to persuade me. Agreed. Now listen up.
Yeah. Yeah.
God be with you. I'm looking for a ginger-haired boy. I hear he's friends with some charcoal burners.
We ain't friends with no redhead.
He works as a stable boy in the stud farm.
I know where that is, but I don't know no one from there. Farewell.
Better ask me first. Good day to you. What do you need?
Could you help me?
Depends what you want, doesn't it?
I'm looking for Ginger, a stable boy from Neuhof. They say he ran away and joined up with some charcoal burners he used to hang around with sometimes.
Sorry, there's never been a lad called Ginger around here. You have to try somewhere else.
A murder's been committed at Neuhof, and that boy likely knows who did it. It's vital I find him.
There's been murder aplenty in these parts of late, but that Ginger lad really hasn't been here.
There'll be a lot less murdering going on once I bring those bastards to justice, so how about helping me out?
Calm down, lad, for the love of God. There's been no one like the boy you want round here, but then again, there are other charcoal burners. Try them. You might want to hurry. You're not the first to be asking about him. And the others weren't exactly a noble-looking bunch, although they were generous with their silver.
They didn't happen to say what they wanted him for?
No, but they definitely didn't look like they wanted to invite him to a feast.
Do you have any idea where else he could have gone?
You said he was friends with the charcoal burners? Well, you'll definitely find some in the forest between Neuhof and Ujetz. There's good spots around there.
But that forest is huge. I could spend weeks searching.
Then follow the river. That's how you found us, isn't it? Where there's charcoal burners, there's always water nearby.
All right, I'll go and ask somewhere else.
God be with you.
Yeah!
Good health to you.
I'm searching for a stable boy from Neuhof. They call him Ginger.
I know him right enough, but I don't know where he is now.
He's run away from the stud farm. I have to find him.
Well, he's definitely not here. Try the other charcoal burners camp downstream. Maybe he's there. May the Lord watch over you.
Talk to me and leave the others in peace. A good day to you. What do you need?
I'm looking for Ginger from Neuhof. Do you know anything about him?
I know him. What do you want of him?
There's a few questions I need to ask him.
Well, he'll have to go somewhere else to find him. He doesn't come here much.
I really must speak with him. A murder was committed at the stud farm, and that boy probably knows who did it. I have to get him to talk.
And you think he had a hand in it?
Hard to say. He ran away, but on the other hand, it seems he stabbed one of the attackers.
Well, when you put it like that, it's clearly urgent business. I do know him. Not personally, but I've seen him around. He's friends with the charcoal burners down by Townburg. I know he hangs around with the twins there.
Downstream by Townburg? Somewhere by the castle?
If you follow the river to the west, you're bound to run into them. Oh, one more thing.
Yes?
Some other men have been around asking about him, but they weren't as convincing as you. I'll be with you.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
God be with you.
Where are you hiding Ginger?
How did you... What the hell are you talking about?
Don't try that one on me. I know he's friends with a pair of twins from here. I'm here on the orders of Sir Hanush, and I need to talk to Ginger about the raid on the stud farm.
If Sir Hanush sent you, then you should deal with those two cutthroats who've been creeping around here asking about the poor boy. Once you take care of them, we won't have to hide him anymore.
All right, I'll deal with them. And then you'll tell me where you've got Ginger hidden, right?
Right. You get rid of them, and I'll tell you.
So where can I find these bandits?
I'm not sure exactly. There's lots of places to hide around here. But they came and went over the bridge, so I reckon they must be somewhere between here and our neighbours.
That's a lot of woods to comb through.
Not all that much. There's a path around there somewhere leading to an abandoned camp.
Good luck to you.
What'll it be? I don't want to buy it.
Very well then.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Hey, who's there? What's that?
Greetings, my good man. May I ask you a question?
Ask first, then I'll ask you something.
Really? Good then. We're looking for Ginger, a stable boy at a nearby stud farm. Have you seen him anywhere?
I was just about to ask you two the same thing. I'm looking for him too.
Then it's a pity neither of us have found him yet.
Thank heavens I've found you, though. I imagine you two might be able to tell me something about Neuhoff. Hmm?
I see. Well, we can give you a little demonstration of what happened there.
Jeez! Ah! Run! Oh. Shit! Christ!
I wonder what Teresa's doing now. I could stop by and see her again. I enjoyed it last time.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
God be with you.
You don't have to worry about those bandits anymore. I've dealt with them.
Really? And I suppose I have to take your word for it.
If you want proof, I can take you to them. Maybe I should have brought you their heads.
I'll take your word for it. All right, a bargain's a bargain. Ginger is hiding out in a ruined hut not far from here. You go along the road to Ujits until you see a path to the right that leads to a small spring. There's an overgrown path that leads from there right to where Ginger is. Keep your eyes peeled, though. You could easily miss it.
Good. Thanks for your help.
Good luck to you.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Jesus, you've led me a merry dance.
What do you want from me?
I want to ask you a couple of questions. Why did you run off like that? Where are your cronies? And why did you kill that bandit?
What?
Right, one thing at a time. Why did you run off in such a hurry?
Because I was afraid they'd come back and kill me.
Who?
Those bandits, of course.
To get revenge on you for killing their mate?
Killing? Me? I never killed anyone. God is my witness.
I'm looking for your friends. Where are they?
The charcoal burners? They're over at the...
To hell with the charcoal burners. Where are your bandit mates?
They're not my mates. They nearly killed me. I recognized one of them, so I thought they'd come back and...
Recognized? Who was it? Talk!
I don't know his name, only that he's from Ujits and he has a limp.
What can you tell me about him? How do you know him?
I saw him a few times in the tavern in Ujits, playing dice and boozing.
And?
I know he lives in a house on the edge of the village, but that's all I know. I never talked to him.
Why did you kill that bandit?
What? Bandit? I never killed anyone.
This is yours, isn't it? I pulled it from the belly of a dead bandit near the stud farm.
That is mine, but I didn't stab him. That fellow took it from me.
What fellow?
I don't know his name, but he's from Ujits, and he has a limp.
He limps and he's from Ujits. That's not much to go on, but I suppose it'll have to do.
It's all I know. I never talked to him.
And now tell me exactly what happened. And don't leave anything out.
That's quite a long story.
Don't worry, I won't get bored.
All right. I woke up in the middle of the night because I needed to go for a piss. So I went out into the dark, same as usual, only there was something there that shouldn't have been. At first I thought it was just a trick of the light, but it wasn't. Then it was too late. They went past, and I thought they must be horse thieves. I would have yelled, only I was afraid they'd kill me. So I waited until they were out of sight, and I started to sneak away. But then...
Then the slaughtering started?
Yes. I thought they'd steal the horses and ride off. That would be bad enough. But then all the killing started, and flames everywhere. It was terrible, like hell itself.
And then?
It seemed some of them didn't like it either. They started squabbling among themselves, and some of them started running back where they came from, right towards me. And I had that thing in my hand, the hoof pick.
So you stabbed the first one in the belly?
No. He ran right into me. He was running fast for a fellow with a limp. He pushed me aside, and I fell on the ground. Then he told me I'd better lie low if I valued my life. And he ran off with the others. I did what he said and hid. Then the rest of the gang ran past.
And then?
Then I waited in case that limping one from Ujits came back. I didn't dare come out until I was sure. I think it was almost light.
What about the others? Was there anything you noticed about them?
I don't know. There might have been maybe 8 of them, and 2 of them were really big. That's all I can remember.
Do you know what they argued about?
Killing.
That sounds terrible. I know exactly how you feel.
If only I yelled. Maybe they...
If you had, you'd most likely be dead. It probably wouldn't have done any good anyway.
But still...
There was nothing you could do. That's all. I've heard everything I need to hear, so I'll leave you be.
Wait! What about me? Won't you help me out?
Perhaps I could. What would you like?
I'd like to go back to the stud farm, but those cutthroats who want to kill me are still around. Will you help me?
They're out of the way. I ran into them on my travels.
Really? That's great, but...
What?
I'm afraid to go back to the farm. I ran away, and God knows what they'll think about it all. I don't know if they'll even want to talk to me.
I could go and ask them if it's important to you.
Would you? You'll definitely have their respect, the way you took care of those cutthroats.
Yeah.
Good day to you.
I found Ginger. He begged me to ask if he can return, man.
Why should I take him back? It might be his fault I had to bury my husband.
What?
Why else would he flee but guilt? The men said they didn't see him in bed. He didn't have a clean conscience because he gave those murderers a signal.
That's not true. He fled because one of the attackers recognised him and Ginger was afraid he'd come back and kill him.
Those are just excuses. He wouldn't dare come back.
But they came back the very same day. If he hadn't run, they'd have killed him and everyone else.
Why would they do that?
Why not? They'd already murdered several people. Why not a few more?
And now I'm supposed to take him back? What if they come back for him and kill one of my daughters in the process?
The cutthroats who were after him have been taken care of. And the rest have no reason to return here.
And what about for revenge? I can't take him back.
I understand your concerns, but you just need to ask Sir Hanish to leave you a guard. Those bandits might be willing to take on a few stable boys, but not an armed soldier.
I'd definitely feel better if someone was here a few days to keep watch.
It can be arranged. I'm sure Sir Bernard won't object.
Good then. Let the lad come back again. Goodbye.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
You can return home. It was hard work to convince them, so please don't get into trouble when you go back.
Thank you. I'd like to give you something, but I've got nothing, except if you're ever traveling by way of Neuhof, stop by and I'll show you something with the horses.
Yeah!
Greetings.
I talked to Ginger and found out what happened.
Out with it, then.
Ginger fled because he recognized one of the raiders. He was afraid they'd come back to silence him.
Well, he was right. They were asking about him. So who did he recognize?
He didn't know his name. Some fellow with a limp from Ujits.
All right. Since you've gone this far, you may as well ask around at Ujits. We've enough to do here in these parts anyway. Sir Radzig will tell you about it. He said to send you to him if you haven't already been. God be with you.
Good to see you, lad. Sir Hanush told me you won his tourney. Good job, Henry.
Sir, I've been to Ujits, and the parish priest there is very odd indeed. He's very handy with a sword. Do you know anything about him, sir?
Godwin? Aye, an intriguing fellow. He's the youngest son of one of the lords of Kuttenberg. He was sent to the university to become a priest, as is customary with the youngest son. But he didn't much care for it. So when he finished studying, instead of taking up his parish, he went roaming. I imagine he had a pretty adventurous life. And then one day he came back and settled down. Hanush would know more about him.
My lord, I managed to find a clue to the whereabouts of the bandits.
Excellent. Bernard already told me what's been happening, but I'd like to hear it straight from the horse's mouth.
The whole story, or just the gist of it, sir?
It's up to you what you consider important.
One of the Neuhof stable boys, a lad they called Ginger, fled from there and hid out with some charcoal burners. I have to say, there's a lot of them around. I never thought how many forges and ironworks they have to supply.
That's true, but keep to the point.
Oh, yes, sir. I had quite a job finding him. He was well hidden and with good reason. The bandits wanted to kill him because he recognized one of them.
Did he tell you what happened?
He said it wasn't one gang, but two. And one of them took fright when the slaughter started. Seems they were only interested in loot, so they quarrelled with the other lot. Then it came to a skirmish in the woods and one of them was killed. And the rest of them scattered.
And did you find out where they went?
All I know is one of them is from Ujits. I know enough about him to be able to track him down.
All right, but those cutthroats must know who he is too, right? And if they want to get revenge on him or silence him, you'd better hope they don't get to him before you. So drop everything and get on his trail. Find out what he knows and then report back to me. I'm going to our encampment at Merhayed to oversee the security of the region.
Yes, sir. Why choose Merhayed?
It's somewhat at the centre of events, isn't it? And what's more, there's another stud farm there.
Sir, do you think they're going to try the same thing again?
I shouldn't think so. Everyone will be on the alert now, but the secluded dwellings are more vulnerable. There are few people in them. They're scattered everywhere and we can't guard them all.
But the bandits won't find much silver in places like that.
There's always a groschen or two. some food and so on. Anyway, how much silver did they get from slaughtering those horses?
True. If they'd stolen them, they could have sold them. Those were fine animals.
Exactly. It's not about the silver. It's about something else.
But what?
Creating fear. Such great terror that you won't even squeak when they come to cut your throat. Never mind raise your hand against them. Fear that will root you to the spot, staring like a rabbit entranced by a stoat, waiting for the death blow to fall. Helpless to do anything about it.
I have some news about the investigation, sir.
Good. Tell me.
The trail leads to Ujits. I found out one of the bandits is from there, a fellow they call Limpy Lubosh.
I see. What else?
That's all I've found out so far, sir.
All right. Come back and report to me as soon as you learn anything new. Take care now.
God be with you, good sir.
I'm looking for a fellow who lives here, but I don't know his name. Do you know anyone with a limp?
Aye, there is one fellow with a limp. Can't imagine what you'd want with the likes of him. But that's your affair. He lives in a cottage on the edge of the village by the road to Neuhof. Good luck to you.
Yeah.
Move along, citizens. Move along. There's nothing to see here.
That's what you call nothing to see. I'd like to know what something to see looks like.
By the keys of St. Peter, this is all I need. We'll have to send word to Sir Hanush.
That might not be necessary.
Who are you?
I'm Henry of Skalitz, in the service of Hanush's captain.
Well, I'm the bailiff of Auschwitz. And I say we don't want any of that kind of trouble around here. What makes you think this has anything to do with Neuhof?
One of the folk at the stud farm recognized someone from Auschwitz among the bandits.
We have no bandits or murderers around here.
Really? They say he had a limp?
Shit. Well, allow me to introduce you to Limpy Lubosh. Or all that's left of him.
Sacre. Nothing's ever easy. I'll have to take a look around and ask a few more questions, if that's all right with you.
You can take this mess off my hands and welcome to it. As for what else there is to find out, I don't know. But look and ask all you like.
Who was Limpy Lubosh?
A poor crofter and a scoundrel. Can't say I'm too surprised what happened to him. He kept company with all sorts of vermin. He was always getting into some kind of trouble. Punch-ups in the tavern and what have you.
How come he limped?
He got that from some villainy or brawl a long time ago.
Has he been up to anything suspicious lately?
I don't know. The last few days he didn't go anywhere. He was home the whole time. But he always kept everyone in the village at arm's length.
Did he have any kith or kin in the village?
None. A loner he was. I don't know the last time I saw him with anyone.
Do you happen to know where he was on the night of the Neuhof raid?
I've no idea. He kept his distance from other folk, so you never knew if he was away or holed up at home.
Another thing about Lubosh. When did you find the body? And did anyone see anything?
Just now, and nobody saw or heard anything. I don't know how they could gut him like that without someone hearing him scream.
Good God! What happened to your clothes? If you were robbed, you should report it.
I've come in the name of Sir Hanish of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
I don't know how I can help you, but ask if you must.
Who was this Lubosh who was murdered?
You could see at first glance he was no good. I kept well out of his way.
Have you noticed anything suspicious recently?
There wasn't sight or sound of him for a long time, and then yesterday he turned up at the church and even talked to the parish priest. I never saw him do that before. Probably had a bad conscience.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing the day Neuhof was raided?
I don't think he was home. I didn't see him all day.
Do you know who Lubosh used to spend time with? Kin or friends?
As far as I know, he had nobody at all in this world.
That's all. Thank you.
Take care.
Good evening.
I've come in the name of Sir Hanish of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
Ask away.
Who was this Lubosh who was murdered?
He was a drunkard and a beast, and lazy too. Idle hands are the devil's tools.
Have you noticed anything suspicious recently?
The only thing seemed suspicious was how a rogue like him suddenly started going to church. Now I see why, of course.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing the day Neuhof was raided?
What do I care about that scoundrel? I was glad he stayed out of my way.
Do you know who Lubosh used to spend time with? Kin or friends?
He was always a loner. Except lately he started talking to the parish priest of all people.
That's all.
May the Lord watch over you.
God be with. Sir Hanush gives a...
That man...
He was a strange one. Always...
Have you noticed any...
I didn't see much of him lately.
Do you know what Lubosh...
I don't think he was home at all.
Do you know anyone Lubosh you...
I really don't know.
That's all.
May the Lord watch over you.
God be with you. I don't know nothing.
That man...
I didn't really know him.
Have you noticed anything...
Come to think of it, he was in church yesterday. He was even talking to the priest and went to confession. I was wondering what he was up to take to the faith all of a sudden. But I suppose...
Do you know what Lub...
I was coming from the tavern very late that night. He looked like he was in a hurry.
Do you know anyone Lubosh...
Not with anyone from the village. He used to sit in the tavern
That's all.
Farewell.
Jesus Christ.
I've come...
I don't know nothing.
That's all.
May the Lord watch over you.
Yeah.
Good day to you.
The blessings of our good Lord be with you, Father. I'm here in the name of Sir Hanush of Lipa, investigating the massacre at Neuhof, which seems to be connected to a murder here. Can I ask you a few questions?
It seems Sir Hanush is employing children as investigators. But ask as you wish, boy. I hope this nasty business will be cleared up quickly.
Did you know Lubosh? What was he like?
Bit of a lost soul. Simple, rough fellow, but at heart I don't think he was such a bad person.
Did you notice anything suspicious recently?
My child, all sorts of suspicious things have been going on recently. People like Lubosh don't know what to do about it, and sometimes they do stupid things.
That's really not a lot of help to me, Father.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing on the day Neuhof was raided?
Unfortunately, I do know. And I'd like to help you with your investigation, but I can't.
What?
I'm bound by certain vows that forbid me to tell you.
Vows more important than catching dangerous murderers?
There are laws of God above the laws of man, son. and one of those is the sanctity of the confessional.
Father, surely you can't be serious. There must be situations in which you can make an exception.
There are things that apply always, no matter what the circumstances, and this is one of them.
I've got no time for this. You might be happy to put people's lives at risk, but I refuse to, and I'll get that confession out of you by force if I have to.
You're threatening me. You want to fight me? Well, I never. Well, why not? Let's have at it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't think it's a very good idea. I got a bit carried away, Father.
I understand how keen you are. I'd truly like to help, but that really isn't the way. Let's start again and try another approach, eh?
Father, Lubosh was my only lead to the Neuhof raiders. Only he could tell me who was responsible for that massacre. If I don't find out who it was, it will probably happen again. Surely you wouldn't want that.
I wouldn't. But I can't betray the sanctity of the confessional. I'll tell you what. Give me some time and I'll try to think up some way of helping you. Suppose we talk it over in the evening, in the tavern, over a cup of good wine. Maybe we'll come up with something.
All right. Thank you, Father.
Farewell.
Yeah.
The blessings of our Lord be...
And with you, lad. Take a seat. I'm sorry I can't tell you everything, but maybe we can work something out. But first I'd like to hear something about you, my son. With whom do I have the honor? Where are you from?
I'm from Skalitz.
Oh, I'm sorry. What about your kin?
They're dead.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Here, we'll drink to them. It must have been terrible.
It was terrible. It seemed so pointless. We had no warning. They just appeared and began the slaughter. God knows why. They killed anyone who didn't make it to the shelter of the castle. My parents, my girl, even the Deutsch who was on Sigismund's side. I didn't make it to the castle. I wanted to try and help my parents, but there was nothing I could do. Then I fled to Talmberg with the Cumans on my heels. They almost killed me. They slaughtered people in the surrounding villages, There's a pile of bodies in front of the church in Rovna. Folk who tried to take refuge there, but
My poor child. May God grant them eternal rest. And how did you come to get this assignment? I'd have expected Sir Hanish to send that old grouch, Bernard.
One beer.
he did, but I found a witness and the trail led here to Ujits, so he sent me here to follow it up.
Ah, well, congratulations. It's nice to see someone using their head to find things out instead of torture. We'll have to drink to that. Now the most important thing. What actually happened at Neuhof? The good folks hereabout are saying all kinds of terrible things, but I take most of it with a pinch of salt.
The rumours aren't exaggerated this time, unfortunately. The Neuhof stud farm was raided by bandits, but they didn't come to pillage or even take the horses. They only wanted to kill. They maimed the horses and slaughtered some people. I'm sure they would have killed more, but the bandits quarrelled among themselves and broke off the attack. And judging by what's left of our Lubosh, they're still settling accounts.
I see it's every bit as bad as people claimed.
I'll be right back with that.
Dreadful. Well then, here's to those poor souls who had to die so pointlessly and so terribly.
I've told you all about me. Now it's your turn, Father. You don't look much like our parish priest at home. I noticed you're pretty handy with a sword. I wouldn't expect that of a man of the cloth.
You know what they say. The Lord moves in mysterious ways.
But this is a bit more mysterious than others.
Let's just say I haven't always been a priest. Fate led me to places where affairs were settled by force. These days, of course, it's just a bit of exercise to keep me in shape.
Well, we've had an agreeable chat, but now let's get down to business. So, about this confessional seal. Do you really want more innocent people to die?
Henry, that's not how it works. There are matters in which you can't make exceptions because if you do it once, you'll forever be tempted to do it again. If people stop believing in the church because their confessional secrets are betrayed, they won't trust anyone, and that's worse than even the most hideous crime.
I understand, but that means I've reached a dead end. Those cutthroats will strike again, and I can't stop them.
Chin up, lad. I might have a solution.
What?
If I tell you what Lubosh told me, I'd be betraying the confessional secret. But first thing tomorrow, I'll try something I think might help you.
Word of honor?
On my soul.
I always wondered about the things a priest tells his congregation. Where on earth do you get the ideas for your sermons?
Well, Ujits is in Prague. It's not enough to instruct people. They have to be entertained, too. If I only read from the Bible, I'd soon be preaching to an empty church.
Our priest wasn't exactly a bard. So what do you preach to your flock about?
It has to be something topical. Condemning vices. And, of course, describing them in detail. A tongue lashing about the two popes goes down well these days. And stories from real life, with a nice moral to them, are popular as well. Especially if they're about fornication and similar scandalous vices.
Can you give me an example?
Well, recently a priest by the name of Jan Hus started preaching in Prague, in the Czech language, and the people liked it. I hear he always has a full house. A journeyman who heard him told me what Hus is preaching, and I like the sound of it. I'm thinking about putting it in my own repertoire.
What's so amazing about it?
The preaching of Master Jan Hus about Mother Church. The lamentable wealth in which the church is drowning has turned to poison. And nearly the whole of Christendom is contaminated. Just like a flock of hungry ravens, they settled on this land to devour every grain of gold and silver. They know no mercy. Their hearts are corrupted by longing for wealth. And they shamelessly profit from everything. You want to baptize a child? Pay. You want to steal and murder? Pay and you will have absolution. What if the devil himself were to pay? Would he ascend to heaven too? With such money gained from the poor, they buy beautiful horses to ride and needless servants to pamper them. They gamble at dice and dress their whores in expensive furs. While Jesus Christ walked barefoot and had no place to lay his head. Look to your consciences, you robbers of the poor, for you are seen by God and his people too. Amen.
Well, this Jan Hus character is quite a rebel.
Oh, the congregation will love it.
I don't doubt it.
Let's drink to that.
Funny. That last bit reminds me of someone.
What do you mean? My situation's completely different. Huth preaches against the prelates and the clerics who are robbing the poor. Look at me. I don't have a pot to piss in. I'm no better off than the folk I preach to. I'm one with them in poverty and suffering and everything that troubles them. I drink with them and curse those stuffed habits in Sasau Monastery.
Don't you think it's a bit odd when someone boozes and lives in sin with a woman and then criticises the Pope for debauchery?
No, I don't.
What do you think of this Jan Hus?
He's certainly a wise man. A little overzealous for my taste. If he got out of Prague and came here for a look, I'm sure he'd stop condemning drinking and lying with women.
Where can I find out more about his teachings?
You like it? I copied down some of his sermons. If you're interested, you can read them at my presbytery.
What do the common folk think of it?
They like it. They're happy to hear someone say what they think themselves, but are afraid to say aloud. Things that make them angry. And they're calling for change. In a few years, it'll have grown beyond control. You mark my words, the people will rise up, and the church will be shaken to its very foundations.
Yeah, unless they burn him at the stake first.
Nonsense. They can't burn a master of the most respected university in Europe.
Thanks for the sermon, but I think I've been morally uplifted enough. Oh, it's getting quite late. What are your plans, Father?
What do you suppose? We have a drink, of course.
Ah, that sounds like a good plan.
I knew you wouldn't let me down.
Przyszła bida mora lat, to nie ustoi żadnej chlap. Na kraj padł dziesięć smutek, wiodnielo i rano utek, niech ich małżeński majstrat, do wczera żylne staje prach. Už sejmojí svatý muži, nechtěl bych bejbě jich kůži. Nám je to jedno a tak si dáme jedno a požerem si huby jako poslední den. Půlky se máví, ano ráda slávy, a tak vypal suky a posaď se mi sem. Tak posaď se sem a vypal je ven. Ukaž kozy jako vozy, zítra jen tu jsou nejden. Tak nalej mi hned a točí se svět.
Enough of this!
Bailiff, come on over here, sit down and have a drink with us.
Don't vex me again, Father. It's 3 hours past dusk, and curfew is long gone.
So what?
So, I'll have you all whipped, and put in the stocks, and I'll write a letter to the bishop about you, priest.
Well, nothing to worry about then. Everyone knows the only one around here who can write is me.
Enough! Men, throw them out.
Oh. Oh. You looking for a fight? Henry, back me up.
Jeba!
Stay, Henry!
You'll see. You might be in it.
So, my dear, wouldn't you like to have a little ring on the bell? No sooner said than done.
I'd love to. And Henry, too, I'm sure. Right, Henry?
Stop that nonsense, Godwin. Are you out of your mind? What will people say?
Watch the step, my dears. Careful, you don't hurt yourself.
Godwin, you're a...
Here we are. Look at this beauty.
Oh. We can't do this, can we?
Who says? Get ringing, wench.
This is wonderful.
Ah, bloody oath. And now, my dears, comes the climax of the evening.
Godwin, you old goat.
Come here. Oh.
The priest has mounted up. What do you say, Henry? Shall we take a little ride of our own?
Well, I have to say that was a fine evening.
Godwin, you beast! Get up! Do you hear me? Wake up, you drunkards!
Oh, fucking hell. Where the... Oh, what the... Oh, who the hell are you? Oh, Henry. My great friend, Henry. Didn't we have a wonderful time?
Well, you certainly did, you old lecher. Now you better pull yourself together quick. You haven't much time. There's some water and something to eat on the table there, but if I were you, I would move my hairy arse before my flock eats me alive.
Oh, step on in my head. My guts. Oh, my poor suffering stomach. Oh, what was that woman on about? Before my flock eats me alive. I've forgotten something. What have I forgotten?
Where the fuck am I?
What the fuck was it? Oh. Mass! Oh, shit, I have to say mass. I gotta say mass. You have to help me.
How? You're the priest.
I can't do it in this state. Maybe the liturgy. But I have to give a sermon as well.
Oh, this is a disaster. They're gonna excommunicate me. I'd like to help you, but you can. You can do the sermon for me.
What? So, first I investigate a murder no one wants investigated. Then I drunkenly keep the whole town up all night. And now you want me to preach at them from the pulpit? Do you want them to burn us at the stake?
No. No, I've got it. Suppose that Sir Radzig's protege. You just came from studying in Prague. And you want to share the words of Master Jan Hus, who you recently heard preaching there. Henry, look. From what I remember, we might have overdone it a bit last night. And if the bailiff or someone else complains about me, the bishop's gonna have my guts for garters. So I'd appreciate it. Stop gaping at me like a stuffed squirrel and start helping.
You're mad. You're stark raving mad.
I'm not. It's a perfect plan. It's flawless. Oh. How about this? If you help me with this, I'll tell you who Lubosh's cronies are.
So all at once the confessional seal isn't so sacred?
Don't mock me. I won't give you a second chance.
Well, all right. But I can't make any promises about what'll happen.
No, neither can I.
What do you want me to do exactly?
I'll go and start the liturgy. Then I'll introduce you. You give the sermon I told you yesterday in the tavern, and that's that. No need to drag it out. If it turns out well, I'll tell you what I know about Lubosh.
Christ almighty. Fine then. We have a deal.
Wonderful. Let's get to it then. Come on then, what's the hold?
Never show up. The swill pump.
Look at him. He can hardly walk after his capers last night.
You were with them, you beast. Just you wait.
Look at him. Mother of God. Any minute now he'll throw up.
So I couldn't sleep a wink last night with all that clamor.
In nomine Patris, et Filii, et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Accepit panem in sanctas at venerabiles a manus suas. Hac facite in meam commemorationem.
Brothers and sisters, you may have had the honor of meeting Henry from Skalitz, who is here at the behest of Sir Hanush to investigate that heinous crime at Neuhof. You might not know that Henry recently visited Prague, where, by the grace of God, was able to hear Master Jan Hus from the esteemed Charles University preaching. I've managed to persuade Henry to stand here today in my stead and tell us what he heard. Because, as you all probably know, Jan Hus is a very popular preacher in Prague. So, Henry, you may begin.
Now I'm curious which one of them will puke first.
Brothers and sisters, let me get straight to the point. I'd like to talk about the church and how corrupt it is.
That boy has a cheek.
Creation has given to every man the power by which he might rule the whole world. But that power does not give him the right to rule. That right belongs to God alone. It is the corruption of God's pastors here on earth that has brought misfortune on our heads. Plague, Cumans, hunger, and chaos. The accursed wealth that the church is drowning in is poisoning almost the whole of Christendom. When dogs are fighting over a bone, take the bone and they will stop. Just like the flock of ravens that has descended on this land to peck up every speck of gold and silver. They show no mercy. Their hearts are poisoned by covetousness. They trade everything. Everything is for sale. You want to baptize a child? Pay. You want to steal and murder? Pay, and you will have absolution. And the prelates sin and give themselves absolution.
For shame! Shame upon them!
It is the custom of the gluttonous prelates and monks to preach against sin. But what do they know of us ordinary folk? Let us remember the marriage at Cana, where our Lord Jesus Christ himself feasted with the other guests and drank his fill. And when the wine was gone, he performed a miracle and created more. He, whose companions were poor travellers, simple folk, prostitutes and troublemakers, performed a miracle so the feast could continue.
Now that's the kind of sermon I like to hear.
No, brothers and sisters. Jesus did not condemn alcohol. Drink to lighten the cross you bear in this vale of tears, but not with such abandon that you cannot keep holy the Sabbath. Beastly indulgence.
He's right.
Enough about sin, which the prelates are so fond of preaching about, and whose absolution they promise if you only pay enough coin to Mother Church. What if the devil himself were to pay? Will the bishops tell us he too would ascend to heaven? And what about those bishops? They sin without remorse, and with the money grasped from the poor for indulgences, they keep fine horses and hordes of servants to pamper them. They play dice and garb their mistresses in expensive furs, while Christ, the Lamb of God, walked barefoot and had nowhere to lay his head. Look to your consciences, you robbers of the poor, for you are seen by God and his people too.
Down with the prelates. Away with them.
We're fortunate to have our good Father Godwin. At least he's a fair and simple man.
God sees what is happening on earth, and he is filled with righteous wrath that those who should seek the salvation of souls instead seek mammon and the idle comfort of lucrative posts. Blessed are the shepherds who share the poverty of their flock, who are as one with you and bear with you the burden of this earthly pilgrimage, who do not condemn your venial sins.
Aye, all honour to Godwin. Let him drink like one of us.
That is all I heard in Prague. Amen.
The lad spoke well, considering what a soak he is.
He's right, that was.
The young man shouldn't drink so much, but the Lord's given him a
I'm
silver
glad he
tongue.
came here. I don't suppose I'll ever get to Prague, and he told it nicely.
Well, well, my boy, you have talent, and I can't deny it. And you pulled a thorn from my side. I almost didn't make it.
Yeah, I noticed. And I wasn't the only one.
Oh, what's to be done? I'll make it up somehow.
So, about our bargain.
Although it's a sin.
So gluttony and fornication.
God does forgive a penitent.
So, what did Limpy Lubosh tell you? Was he at Neuhof that day? Who was with him? And where are they now?
Now, slow down. I'm sorry, but he didn't tell me that much.
Don't let me down after all I've been through. For you...
Well, now Lubosh came to me shortly after it happened. His conscience was gnawing at him. And I must say, in the end, he turned out to be a better man than he looked. He said they'd been hired through some crony of theirs. And at first they were just to steal some horses. But then it all turned sour and people started getting killed. And neither he nor his cronies wanted anything to do with that. So they fell out from the gang and fled.
Fell out?
Yeah, there was a body found in the woods by Neuhof.
That would explain something. Lubosh kept jabbering that he wasn't a murderer, that he didn't want to do it.
So I know that Lubosh killed the murderer and he's dead too. The trouble is, I need to find the ones who are still alive. I need names and places. Did he mention any of the others?
Only nicknames. Talked about some fella called Riki from Ledechko, Pius, Timmy.
Pius. That lot are about as pious as I am ordained.
Nonsense. You would make an excellent priest. And anyhow, with your skills, you ought to be able to sniff out this Riki from Ledechko, right?
Well, we'll have to now. There's not much else to go on. Let's hope he's not hanging from the wall too.
Indeed. And I'd hate to be excommunicated for nothing. Anyhow, good luck. You watch out for yourself. These people clearly mean business. And I'd like to raise a tankard with you again sometime.
Yeah, I'll try. Although I'm not sure I'd survive another night of your debauchery.
And if anyone should ask, you heard nothing from me. I'll deny everything.
I don't doubt it.